Walk onto any luxury dealership trade-in lot in America today, and you'll see them. Pristine leather interiors, low miles, every option on the window sticker, and a price tag that's been marked down twice already because nobody's walking into luxury dealerships looking for a used one. Meanwhile, retirees living on Social Security are being pushed into stripped-down economy crossovers with cloth seats and road noise that ruins the long drive to go see the grandkids. I've been an independent luxury vehicle technician for 27 years, and I've worked on just about every German, Japanese, and American luxury SUV on the road today. I am going to tell you something the dealerships never will. There are 3 luxury SUVs on the used market right now that will cost you less per year to own than a base model Toyota Corolla, and they'll pamper you like a $75,000 new SUV while doing it. These aren't gambles, these aren't hope and pray vehicles. These are the SUVs my retired customers have been quietly driving for years, while the neighbors assume they must be wealthy. I am saving the best for number 1 because that SUV, in my professional opinion, is the single most overlooked vehicle for anyone living on a fixed income. And you can buy a clean one today for under $19,000. Let's get into it. Starting at number 3 is a luxury SUV that most people write off the second they see the badge on the tailgate. They hear Lincoln and they think old man's town car from 1994. They think American luxury means unreliable transmissions and electrical gremlins. They think if they buy one, they'll be back at the shop every other month. Wrong on every count. I am talking about the Lincoln MKX from 2011 through 2015, and here's the part that nobody mentions when they dismiss this SUV. This vehicle was built on the exact same chassis as the Ford Edge, assembled at the same plant in Oakville, Ontario, Canada, with the same 3.7-liter Duratec V6 engine that Ford shoved into everything from the Mustang to police cruisers to the F-150 base model. The parts are at every auto parts store in America, from AutoZone to O'Reilly to Napa. Labor is cheap because any competent mechanic in any town can work on it without special training or proprietary tools. And that badge on the tailgate saves you thousands of dollars compared to an equivalent German or Japanese luxury SUV parked right next to it on the same lot. A retired postal worker came into my shop 2 summers ago. His name was Frank. He was 71, and he was living on his postal pension plus Social Security for a combined monthly income of around $3,200. He needed something to replace his 2005 Ford Taurus that had finally given up the ghost at 218,000 miles. His wife had arthritis in both hips, and she couldn't keep climbing in and out of a low sedan without help. His budget was $10,000 firm because he also had to keep money aside for his wife's prescription copays. Every salesman he'd talked to at the big box dealerships had steered him toward a cheap Nissan Rogue or a Kia Sorento, the kind of vehicle that would technically get him from point A to point B but would feel like a punishment every time he sat in it. He came to me because a neighbor had recommended me. I sent him to look at a 2014 Lincoln MKX with 98,000 miles listed at $9,800 at a small independent lot about 30 miles away. Leather interior, heated and cooled front seats, panoramic roof, navigation system, the works. His wife got into the passenger seat, settled in, and she told me later over the phone that was the first time she'd sat in a car in 5 years without her hips protesting. He bought it that same afternoon, HES now at 142,000 miles on that MKX. Total repairs and 2 years of ownership, 1 set of brakes, 1 new battery, and an alternator. That is it. He called me last month to tell me he's never buying another brand new car again as long as he lives. Here's exactly why this SUV works mechanically and why Frank is going to keep driving it for another decade. The 7-liter Duratec V6 under the hood makes 305 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque. It runs on regular unleaded gas, not premium. It uses a timing chain, not a timing belt, which means there's no $1,200 belt service hanging over your head at 100,000 miles. There's no turbocharger to fail and leave you stranded. There's no direct injection system to cause the carbon buildup problems that plague modern German and even some newer Japanese engines. It's a simple, port fuel injected, naturally aspirated V6 that was engineered during the era when Ford still cared about durability more than marketing horsepower numbers. The 6-speed automatic transmission paired with it is the Ford 6F55, well proven across millions of vehicles, and parts are everywhere. Rebuilds, when they eventually fail, run about $2,400 installed at most shops, which is a fraction of what you'd pay on a modern 8 or 10-speed transmission. For seniors specifically, this SUV has features that genuinely matter in your daily life. Heated and cooled front seats come standard on most trims from 2013 onward, which is enormous if you have arthritis, circulation issues, or you just get cold easily. The seat height is essentially perfect for getting in and out without bending your knees or hips too far, which is exactly what Frank's wife needed. The steering wheel tilts and telescopes electronically with memory settings, so you set it once and it remembers your position every time you get in. The gauges are large, clear, and analog, not some tiny digital screen buried inside nested menus that you need reading glasses to see. The cabin is genuinely quiet on the highway thanks to Lincoln's active noise cancellation and thicker glass, which matters enormously when you're driving 6 or 7 hours to visit family. Road trip fatigue is cut almost in half compared to a cheap crossover. Current market pricing on a 2013 to 2015 Lincoln MKX with reasonable miles and decent history is between $8,500 and $13,000 depending on trim and region. A same-year Lexus RX 350 with similar mileage will cost you $18,000 to $22,000. A same-year Mercedes GLK or BMW X3 will cost you $14,000 to $19,000 and come with a repair bill they'll make you cry. You're looking at nearly $10,000 in savings for a vehicle that will give you nearly identical comfort and significantly better reliability. U.S. News & World Report actually projects 5-year ownership costs on these MKXs at around $5,200 per year total, including insurance, fuel, maintenance, and routine repairs. Compare that to what you'd spend leasing a new crossover for 60 months and the math isn't even close. You'd pay $5,200 in 3 months of lease payments alone on something new. When you go inspect one, there are 3 specific things to check. First, the axle shaft assembly on 2011 through 2014. All-wheel drive models had a known issue where the rubber boots could tear and the CV joints would wear prematurely. It's a $400 fix per side at an independent shop, and you should absolutely confirm it's been addressed, ideally with a receipt. Second, listen carefully for a whine from the power transfer unit on all-wheel drive models, because they can leak and wear out if the fluid wasn't changed at the recommended intervals. Third, check the panoramic roof drains by pouring a small bottle of water into the corners of the sunroof channel, because if the drains clog, water ends up in the headliner and eventually in your electronics. None of these are deal breakers, but they're the exact items ID want addressed or factored into the price before handing over any cash. Sliding into number 2 is an SUV that Honda's luxury division built during what I personally consider their absolute golden era of engineering. I am talking specifically about the 2015 Acura MDX. And I want to be very specific about the model year because this matters more than people realize when they are shopping used. The 2014 MDX, which was the first year of the third-generation redesign, had early transmission complaints and some engine-ticking issues. The 2016 MDX introduced the problematic 9-speed transmission that caused hesitation and jerking during acceleration. The 2015 MDX, wedged right in between those two, was the sweet spot. It was the year Acura fixed the teething problems from the redesign, and it was the year before they introduced the complications. If you buy a 2015 MDX, you are buying Acura's single most refined, most proven, most reliable third-generation model ever produced. A 74-year-old widow named Margaret came into my shop about a year and a half ago. Her husband Robert had passed away from a sudden stroke. She wanted to spend more time on the road driving to see her sister in Tennessee every couple of months, and she had $18,000 shed set aside specifically for a reliable vehicle. She didn't want to feel like she was downgrading from the Cadillac her husband used to drive her around in. She wanted something dignified, something that made her feel like she still belonged to the life she and Robert had built together. She told me she didn't want pity, she didn't want to hand me down, and she didn't want to feel like a poor widow. I sent her to a local Acura dealer who I trust, and they had a 2015 MDX with 84,000 miles and the technology package listed at $17,500. One owner, Complete Service Records Garage, kept its entire life by a local doctor who'd traded it in on something newer. She test drove it, she cried in the parking lot for about 10 minutes because the seats felt so comfortable, and then she bought it. She's now driven that MDX to Tennessee and back 4 separate times, to Ohio twice to see a grandchild graduate, and she runs errands in it every single day around town. Total repairs in 17 months of ownership, oil changes every 6 months, and 1 new battery because the original one was the factory unit from 2015 and was overdue anyway. The original Michelin tires are still on it with plenty of tread left. She told me last week at her regular oil change appointment that she feels safer in this vehicle than she ever did in her old Cadillac, and the seats don't hurt her lower back on long drives the way her husband's car did. The engine under the hood is the main reason this SUV deserves to be on this list. And honestly, why it could have been number one in a different ranking. It's Honda's J35Y V6, 5 liters of displacement, 290 horsepower, runs on regular unleaded gas. This is the same engine family that Honda has been refining and improving for over 15 years, and it has powered everything from the Pilot to the Odyssey minivan to the Ridgeline pickup to the Accord V6. The timing belt service at 105,000 miles is the one big scheduled maintenance item, and it runs about $900 at a good independent shop when you include the water pump and accessory belts that get replaced at the same time. Once that service is done, these engines regularly cross 250,000 miles with nothing but oil changes and periodic spark plug replacements. The 6-speed automatic transmission paired with the J35Y in the 2015 MDX is equally bulletproof. I've got customers with 2015 MDXs that are well past 180,000 miles on original drivetrains with absolutely zero major problems. For seniors specifically on a fixed income, here's what this SUV actually delivers in daily life. Heated front seats and a heated steering wheel, which are genuinely life-saving in winter for anyone with circulation issues, Raynaud's syndrome, or arthritis in the hands. The seating position is elevated but not pickup truck high, so entry and exit is easy without needing a running board or grab handle. Visibility in all directions is excellent, which becomes critical when your neck doesn't rotate as far as it used to. The infotainment system has actual physical buttons and knobs for climate control and volume, not some buried touchscreen menu that requires you to take your eyes off the road to find the defrost button. The cabin is genuinely whisper quiet on the highway thanks to Acura's active noise cancellation, making conversation easy without raising your voice. And the safety features on a 2015 MDX equipped with a technology package include blind spot monitoring, lane departure warning, forward collision warning with automatic emergency braking, and adaptive cruise control, which significantly reduces driver fatigue on longer trips. Margaret specifically mentioned that the adaptive cruise control on her drive to Tennessee makes the whole journey feel like half the distance. If this kind of honest, experienced advice is helping you avoid a $45,000 mistake at a dealership, please do me a favor and hit subscribe. I put out videos every single week breaking down the vehicles that salespeople deliberately hide from retirees and people on fixed incomes. You've worked your whole life for your retirement. Don't let a commission-hungry salesman rob you of it in an afternoon. Now back to the MDX. Current market pricing on a 2015 MDX with 80,000 to 120,000 miles in good condition is between $14,000 and $19,000 depending on trim level and region. The technology package or advanced package examples sit at the higher end of that range, but they're worth the extra money because of the safety features I just mentioned. Compare that to a same-year BMW X5, which starts at around $18,000 for a beater with questionable history and goes up to $28,000 for a genuinely clean one. Plus, you'll definitely spend $3,000 to $5,000 in repairs during your first 2 years of ownership. I pull failed water pumps, cracked valve cover gaskets, and leaking oil filter housing gaskets out of X5s every single month in my shop. The MDX, on the other hand, I mostly see for scheduled oil changes and brake jobs. That's it. When you go to inspect one, focus on 3 specific things. Check the transmission fluid carefully. It should be clean, reddish pink, and the shifts should be smooth with absolutely no hesitation going into 3rd gear or downshifting from 6th to 5th. If you feel any flare, hesitation, or hard shifting, walk away immediately. Second, listen for any front end clunking over bumps, because the front strut mounts can wear out around 100,000 miles and run about $500 to replace as a pair. Third, and this is the most important one, verify that the timing belt service has been done or factor it into your offer price. If the current owner can show you a receipt for timing belt, water pump, and accessory belt replacement, you're looking at an SUV that can genuinely go another 100,000 miles with essentially nothing but oil changes. That single piece of paper is worth $1,500 off the asking price if the service hasn't been done. And here it is, number one. This is the luxury SUV I would personally recommend to my own mother if she was retiring tomorrow on a fixed Social Security income and told me she wanted something nice that absolutely wouldn't break her financially. There is almost no scenario in my 27 years of wrenching on cars where I recommend anything else in this category for this particular buyer. I am talking about the 2013 through 2016 Lexus RX 350, and I know what some of you are thinking already. Everybody knows about the RX. It's not some hidden gem like a Mazda or an obscure European model. But here's what most people don't realize, and this is the key insight that makes this vehicle number one on my list. The retail market has completely underpriced the 2013 through 2016 third-generation refresh models because used car buyers are chasing the newer, more complicated, more expensive, redesigned fourth-generation RX from 2016 onward, which means right now, today, in April of 2026, a 2014 RX 350 with 85,000 miles costs less than a brand new base model Toyota Corolla, and it will last twice as long while pampering you twice as much. A retired Delta airline pilot named David became a regular customer of mine about 5 years ago. He bought a 2013 RX 350 with 62,000 miles back in early 2020 for $19,500 from a Lexus certified pre-owned lot. Hess now 77 years old, his wife Susan is 75, and they drive that RX absolutely everywhere. They make an annual road trip from their home in Central Florida up to a family cabin in Maine every single summer, about 1,500 miles each way. HES currently sitting at 167,000 miles on the odometer. Total repairs in 5 years of ownership across 105,000 miles of hard driving, including 4 round trips to Maine, 2 sets of brakes, 1 new battery, 1 set of iridium spark plugs at the factory recommended interval, and 1 wheel bearing on the rear passenger side. That is the entire list. Over 5 full years of ownership, 105,000 miles driven. His total out-of-pocket repair cost outside of routine oil changes is under $1,800. He told me last spring, standing in my shop waiting for an oil change, that this RX is the single best vehicle he has ever owned in 55 years of driving. And this is a man who has previously owned Cadillacs, Mercedes, BMWs, Infinitis, and 2 Porsches. His exact words to me were that this is the only car he has ever owned that has never once made him late for anything. Here's the engineering underneath this vehicle that makes this kind of ownership experience possible. The RX 350 from 2013 to 2016 is powered by Toyota's 2GRFA V6 engine, 3.5 liters of displacement, 270 horsepower, 248 pound-feet of torque. This is the same exact engine family that powered the Camry V6, the Avalon, the Highlander, the Sienna minivan, and the Lexus ES 350. It is naturally aspirated with no turbocharger to fail. It uses a timing chain, not a belt, so there's no $1,200 service looming at 100,000 miles. It has port fuel injection, which means zero carbon buildup problems that plague modern direct injection engines. It runs on regular unleaded gas, not premium. There is no cylinder deactivation system, no variable displacement nonsense, no sophisticated turbocharging system designed to extract maximum horsepower at the cost of durability. It is a simple, over-engineered Toyota-built V6 that was designed by engineers who clearly did not get the corporate memo about planned obsolescence. The 6-speed automatic transmission behind it is one of the smoothest shifting units Toyota has ever built, and it is genuinely proven to outlast the body panels of the vehicle. I have personally, in my own shop, seen multiple 2GRFA engines cross the 300,000 mile mark on original factory internals with nothing more than routine oil changes. I have one specific customer with a 2013 RX currently at 278,000 miles still running strong on the original engine and original transmission. Current market pricing on these is where the math becomes almost unbelievable for anyone living on a fixed income. A clean 2013 to 2015 Lexus RX 350 with 80,000 to 120,000 miles is selling between $14,000 and $18,000 across most of the country as of this spring. A 2016 model with lower miles will run you $19,000 to $22,000. Now compare those numbers to a same-year Mercedes GLE 350. You're looking at $20,000 to $26,000 for the Mercedes, plus a near guarantee of spending $4,000 to $6,000 on repairs in your first 3 years of ownership alone. air suspension failures that cost $2,500 per corner, transmission valve body issues, oil leaks from every gasket on the engine. I see these problems every single month in my shop. The Lexus RX, mechanically over my 27-year career, has proven to cost less to own per mile driven than almost any other vehicle on the road, luxury or economy. And I am including Toyota Corollas and Honda Civics in that statement. The RX genuinely costs less per mile to own than economy cars because it depreciates slower and requires less frequent repairs. When you go inspect one, there is one specific issue to check that matters more than anything else I'll mention in this video. Lexus had a known water pump issue on the 2 GRFE V6 where the pump can start seeping coolant around the 100,000 mile mark. It's not immediately catastrophic, but if ignored over time, it can overheat the engine and cause real damage. Look very carefully for any pink or red residue or dried coolant streaks near the front of the engine on the passenger side, specifically around the water pump pulley area. If you see any evidence of seeping, factor it into your offer. Replacement runs about $650 at a good independent shop. If it's already been replaced and you can see a receipt or service record, you're buying genuine peace of mind. Also check the dashboard carefully for what Lexus owners call the melting dashboard issue on 2010 through 2013 models. In hot climates, the soft-touch dashboard material can become sticky and shiny over time. Lexus extended warranty coverage on many affected vehicles, and most have had the dashboard replaced. Definitely confirm this on any vehicle coming from a southern state. Finally, check the rear hatch struts because they weaken with age, and a hatch that won't stay up is a minor annoyance but an easy $80 fix if you know about it going in. Who exactly should buy this SUV? Anyone on Social Security or a modest pension who wants to drive something that genuinely feels like a $70,000 vehicle without the monthly payment hanging over their head. Anyone who's tired of being talked down to by luxury dealership salespeople half their age. Anyone who has worked hard their entire life and earned a comfortable retirement and wants a vehicle that actually reflects that without destroying their savings account in the process. Anyone who wants to spend money on a vehicle one time and spend the next 10 years enjoying it instead of fixing it. Anyone who values quiet cabin, smooth ride, easy entry and exit, and a dashboard they can actually read without squinting at tiny digital menus. If any of that describes you, stop looking at anything else and find a clean RX 350. So there it is. 3 luxury SUVs that the market has completely forgotten about, and every single one of them will give you the retirement driving experience you've earned without draining your savings account or trapping you in a 7-year loan payment. The Lincoln MKX for anyone wanting an American luxury badge at the lowest entry price. The Acura MDX for anyone who needs a bit more interior space and wants Honda engineering under the hood. And the undisputed king of the list, the bulletproof Lexus RX 350. The vehicle that, in my professional opinion, represents the single best combination of luxury, reliability, and low ownership cost in the entire used market today. None of these SUVs will impress the 25-year-old at the gas station scrolling his phone. None of them have the newest touchscreens or the monthly lease payment that follows you into your 80s and cuts into your grocery budget. What they have is something the modern luxury industry has completely forgotten how to build. Quiet, dependable, dignified comfort that actually lasts into your golden years without punishing you financially for having the good sense to choose it. The next time some salesman tries to put you in a $65,000 brand new SUV with a 7-year loan you'll still be paying off at age 78, you'll know exactly what to do. Walk right past him, head straight for the trade-in row at the back of any luxury dealership, and find one of these 3 SUVs instead. If you want to see which full-size sedans I still recommend to retirees who don't need an SUV, I made a video on that topic just last month. It's right here on screen. 27 years under the hood has taught me one thing above everything else. Retirement should be about enjoying the drive, not worrying about the next repair bill. Like the video if it helped. Subscribe for honest advice that genuinely respects your budget and your time. And I'll see you in the next one. Drive safe out there.